Listen to the Voice of Survival podcast every other Friday, right here on the Journey into Comics Network. JourneyIntoComics.com.
The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Warning, Podcastrophe imminent. Join me, Dick, on a podcast about music, movies, television, all with a taste of metal. This is Podcastrophe.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Podcastrophe, episode 11. I am Dick, and I'm here to talk to you guys, like usual. So I've had a lot of fun this weekend. It was my birthday weekend. This weekend, to start it off, Wednesday, I found out my great-grandmother passed away. May she rest easy. Because of that, I managed to get a couple days off of work. And so I got caught up on a lot of stuff. Got caught up on all my CW shows. Thursday night, I went and saw Jeff Daniels, which was a really fun show. To take that story back a little bit, a couple months ago, I found out that he had actually played in my hometown of Delphi about 2 years ago, and to a sold-out crowd at the Delphi Opera House. And my grandma Tina of the Tyner clan, she cooked for the event. And the Jeff Daniels group of people, so Jeff Daniels, his son's band, and whoever else was there with them, they loved her food. They loved her cooking. They said they didn't really get that kind of food on tour, so it was really nice. And they actually offered a spot on their tour for her to keep coming along and cooking for them. She declined, however, which I thought she was crazy for, but at the same time, I understand. I understand completely. So, fast forward a little bit. I guess the Delphi Opera House contacted Jeff Daniels' people again, said, hey, we want you to come back. And their only requirement was that my grandma cook for him again. So of course she would cook for him again. So she asked me, she's like, hey, how would you like a ticket for Jeff Daniels? I'm like, Grandma, of course I'd love a ticket. Of course I'd love a ticket. So of course I go, and she gets me a second row ticket. That's for my birthday. And it was great. It was a great show. It was a great experience because it allowed me. I go to a lot of metal shows. I go to a lot of rock shows. I don't really get this kind of show. It was kind of like a bluegrass, folksy kind of thing. And with Jeff Daniels, star of Dumb and Dumber 2, My Favorite Martian, The Martian, Looper, a bunch of other movies, he tends to gravitate more towards comedy. And he's a very funny guy. There was hardly any comedy in this show. You know, I expected like a little stand-up, a little bit of music and stand-up, but no, it was mostly music. And so, yeah. He opened up with a song about his wife reading 50 Shades of Grey and then wanting to put the moves on him. And it was quite funny. It's quite humorous. But out of his entire 2-hour set, which was mostly him and his son performing, along with his son's band and his son's wife. And so the content was mostly serious, mostly very deep, and it just astounded me how long he's been doing music. It astounded me because like he would introduce a song, be like, yeah, I wrote this song back in the day, like doing this, and this. So I wrote this back in 1978, and I'm like, holy shit, you've been doing this for that long? Which it just blew my mind. He told a story about how the first time he met Ryan Reynolds on a set of some movie, he said it was It was when he met Ryan Reynolds before he was Ryan Reynolds, and he was he was passing him in a hallway, and they did the typical like, oh, we got to go around each other, but which way you going, which way am I going type shuffle, and then finally after doing that for a couple seconds, Ryan Reynolds apparently told him, so should we just take off our pants and relax? So that's what the song was called, Take Off Your Pants and Relax. And no, it was a really fun time. During the intermission, I found my grandmother, and she told me, hey, meet me down in the kitchen. This is how you get there, and I'd like to introduce you to Jeff Daniels. So after the show, I go down there, I wait, talk to my grandmother and a couple other people I met, or not that I met, but I knew from being in Delphi. Saw a lot of familiar faces, like a lot of teachers. Saw my 4th and 5th grade teachers, Mr. and Mrs. Beach, and so that was fun to run into them and talk to them for a brief second, catch up. Neither of them recognized me, as I was not a bearded fellow in 5th and 4th grade. Didn't have all these tattoos and all this muscle, all them gains. I was a scrawny little fuck back then. But yeah, so I waited. I waited and waited. We waited, and his daughter-in-law came down. I saw her, saw his son come in, the bass player. All of them came in. And then they're like, hey, we got to go out. We got to go. It's we're heading home, and we're just ready to be home. So that was a bummer. Next thing I know, here comes Jeff Daniels, walks down the hall and right past the room. I was like, oh. Well, there he goes. And before anyone could really say anything or comprehend what just happened, besides me going, oh, he just peeps his head in the room. He goes, thanks, guys. Walks out. So that was fun. But yeah, so that was the Jeff Daniels experience for me. It was a really great show. I really loved it. The rest of the weekend, I just caught up with family, got drunk with my family. It was always fun. And then Saturday, I went and saw Thor Ragnarok. Excellent show. I'm sure the Journey into Comics guys will talk about that at some point. Other than that, Sunday for my birthday, I had the pleasure of, burying my grandmother, which never fun, but it is what it is. But let's turn this around and bring it back up. Today, I am joined by 2 guests. I am joined by Mr. Scott Collins.
What's going on?
How are you today, Scott?
I'm doing just peachy.
Now, Scott, I've wanted to have you on this podcast since day one.
This is true.
You were slated to be one of my first guests, along with my podcasting brethren, Mr. Brandon Stone of Journey into Comics and Game Addicts.
Mm-hmm.
But time after time, scheduling conflicts happen. It's
things go missing.
Yeah, shit's been difficult to get you on, but here we are. Finally,
We've finally made it.
Scott, I've known you basically my entire
life.
My entire life, yeah. Like we went to school together. We went to elementary school together, high school together.
Never really crossed too many paths.
No, we didn't. It wasn't until I think right before my senior year, you had already graduated, and it wasn't until then that finally, our paths started to cross. Aside from
kind of started recognizing one another.
Yeah, and it was because I went to my very first concert, which was the 2008 Mayhem Festival. And
rest in peace.
Yeah,
rip.
And so I went down there with Wes Everett, your sister Amanda, Corey, just
the crew.
Shit,
yeah.
that was your first concert?
That was my first concert.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, so
that's a solid first.
Ever since then, we have been concert buddies.
Yep.
We've gone to basically all of our concerts together, save for I don't know how many I've fucking been to at this point, but I'd say a rough 10 maybe I haven't been with you. But
a couple you went with me instead.
Yeah. And yeah, so we went to college together. We had a few classes. That's where our friendship
Ivy
really
Tech
blossomed.
Community College, Lafayette, Indiana.
Oh yeah, that's where our friendship truly blossomed, because we had 2 classes back to back together. Those classes separated by like an hour or so.
An hour lunch or something ridiculous.
Where we would just chill and hang out with each other, and after classes, we would go eat some Luca pizza at the mall, or go
Probably
back
contributed to some of my obesity, but
somehow did not contribute to mine. I don't get it.
that's
You work
metabolism,
out.
bro.
At the time, I did not work out. it was just
was not
straight.
occurring.
At that time, it was just. The crazy thing was, I still worked at Monocle's too, so I was eating pizza.
This is a straight carbohydrate diet.
Oh yeah, but it was just good genes and
Yeah, no
super
kidding.
amazing metabolism at the time.
Yeah.
At the time,
We were not blessed with such metabolism.
No. I mean, my metabolism is all right.
but we would play guitar here together. We would jam on guitars together. You were a very big part of my journey into guitars.
I think we both influenced each other in
Yeah.
one way or another.
I mean,
honestly.
despite never really taking it anywhere and never getting
Never really amounting to anything
Yeah, like
other than
pseudo
palm
shredding,
muting masters.
palm muting masters. Yes. Yeah, so like we've shared so many good times together. We were roommates for a good 4 years. No, it wasn't 4 years. It was 3 years.
Sorry, I just noticed the mail truck delivering mail at 6:10 at night.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
pure darkness.
I wonder if it's because I didn't have mail when I left, so I wonder if it's there
Well,
too.
Snapchat's down. The rest of the world goes
You
with
didn't get
it.
Yeah, I
caught up
know,
with
right?
daylight savings time yet.
Oh, true. Fucking Indiana, man.
Oh,
Yeah, we were roommates for 3 years. So from 2000,
it was probably 2010,
2011,
2011 to approximately 2013, 2014-ish.
2014, yeah. So
Started off in the old 823 at Pheasant Run.
moving over to 1905 and Pheasant Run,
Drive.
where we had a lot of fun times there.
A lot of fun, mixed emotions.
Yes.
Some
We're not gonna
possible
get into.
PTSD.
Oh, yes. Roommates, man. Roommates.
But lots of times, lots of good times.
You introduced me to one of my favorite bands of all time, which is Parkway Drive.
I think that's what we did in general, though.
We just-
I feel like I introduced Parkway Drive to you actually in Ivy Tech.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, because I remember sitting, we were old, because that's what we would do in our break. It was we would sit there on the just seats or whatever they had there on the second level of Ivy Tech in the main
Yeah.
lobby.
Yeah.
And we would just literally sit there on our laptops and just go through YouTube or whatever and just browse through music. And I
Yeah,
just happened
that-
across Parkway Drive and I was like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, I remember like you introduced them to me while we were riding along in the Monty,
Oh yeah.
The old Monty.
the old good old Monte Carlo that you used to have.
Rest in
and
peace, that
you
one.
were jamming it.
I would love to
and-
have that car back right about now.
I told you not to get rid of it.
Fucking 220,000 miles, not a damn issue.
Yep.
You had what's the name of the album? You had the Killing with a Smile album in your car, and you were jamming that, and I heard one of two songs, and it could be either or. It was either Pandora or Romance is Dead by Parkway Drive. And I think it was either either anything in Pandora or the end of Romance is Dead with that slamming riff, and I was hooked, but not hooked enough to where
You refuted them initially.
Yeah, 'cause-
you're like, oh yeah, these guys are pretty solid. Like I can see myself getting into them, and you kind of put it on the back burner for a little
did.
bit, and I continued to like push. I'm like,
Yeah.
you seriously need to keep listening to this band. Like you need to do this.
it wasn't until like well into maybe it was about around 2010 I found Deep Blue, their third album, and I got really into that album.
Very much into it.
And then at some point in 2012 I was still into them. I'm still very into them, and then they came out with Atlas.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's when I was like, fuck yeah. Well, no, at that point I was already like, fuck yeah, but that Atlas really changed.
Yeah,
Atlas really
you
changed
got
the
to
game
that
for
point,
me.
Finally, you're just like,
And then shortly after that, I got into Horizons. Their second album.
Went backwards.
Went a little backwards,
because I fell in love with the song Carrion. I that was my first vocal cover that I did, and I was obsessed with that song for the longest time.
very much so.
Yeah, so that's really all I got for you, Scott.
I mean, it's quite the colorful history.
Well, honestly, that's a good.
That's all I got
That's
to
a
say
good
about
background. A little
you.
info.
That's all I have to say about you. You're done with this podcast today.
I appreciate this. Is what I've been waiting so long to be a part of.
Yeah.
Was my 15 minutes of fame.
Honestly, it's at about the 15-minute mark.
Boom.
Nailed it.
I'm kidding. We are going to talk much more.
We got more.
But before we do that, I have to introduce your sister, Miss Amanda Collins.
What's up, guys?
How are you doing today?
We're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Glad to be here.
Now, Amanda, you've been along with me for my concert journey as well. A
Yep.
lot of my metal journey. We went to the first Mayhem Festival together, a couple Mayhems together.
About that, I would love to share the story of that first Mayhem that we all went together. We had, the convoy of 4 cars
Yes.
I think
in
there
that
was
convoy?
3 or 4 of us. Yeah.
And I'm driving. Bobby's friends were driving in a car, and then she had a car, and then there was you and Wes Everett in
Yes.
the truck, that
Yes.
tan truck. And I had known you because you're my brother's friend. I don't think you guys had been roommates at that point
No,
yet.
I was still in high school.
Yeah,
I
and
was still
so
in high school.
I
was
was
still
aware
a
of your
child.
presence, and I knew Wes, and I was like, oh, cool, they're going to go with us. That's awesome. And so we go to this show, and it's a blast. And then I get kicked out during Disturbed because the habitual sod fights
Yeah.
at the Clip Center back then.
It was Verizon back
Yeah,
then.
back then,
Yeah,
the Verizon
the
Center.
Verizon
And it's
Center.
now something else now. It's gotten its name changed again.
We've discussed this on Podcastrophe before. I still don't remember it.
No.
Oh yeah. I
I'm
can't
not
what
going to
it's
remember
called.
it because it's even longer. It's
Yeah,
a
it
longer
is. It's like a
name,
4-word name now.
and no one cares about it.
Yeah. No. Everybody still refers to it as like the Verizon Center or the Clip Center. Like I feel like.
I like clips.
It's always going to be Clip. So
So yeah, we're at this concert, and I get kicked out for participating in the habitual sod fight. I had a piece of grass that had been ripped up from the lawn land on me or near me, and so I picked it up and
Pretty sure it
continued
clocked you in
to
the back of
chuck
the
it
head.
into the crowd. And then the ogre, as we deemed him, shows
Ogre.
up.
I haven't seen him in forever.
Me neither. Maybe he moved on. He's probably head of security now or something.
sits in the
But
booth.
he shows up and puts his arm on the back, the small of my back, and just starts to escort me out. And I am so naive and innocent at that point in time that I'm just like going with it. I don't know what's going on. I leave all of my stuff next to you guys, including phone and wallet and all that jazz. And I get escorted over to the side of the venue where someone proceeds to start taking my name and information. And again, me being the naive person, I'm like giving them my legit information, not realizing that they could potentially give me a fine or something for destruction of the property, when I think it was the owner came out and was just like, how are these people participating in the sod fight or whatever? And someone was talking, and he just started yelling, get them all out, get them all out. And so the woman that was writing my information down, she like stopped midway through my last name. She just like shuffled me along, and we got thrown into a golf cart and escorted outside the gates. And so I spent the remainder of Disturbed set and Slipknot set crying next to my car and wondering what the fuck just happened.
Was that not also the Mayhem that Dragon Force was
Yeah.
on?
that was.
Yep. You
Because,
guys ran in
Because I remember you were like by the gate.
Yeah, I eventually, like, they told me not to leave my car, but eventually I decided to become I think that was maybe the start of my rebellion of sticking it to the man, because I decided to go back to the gate, and there was this little woman up at the gate, and I said that I had left because the smoke had got to my asthma and triggered me. And so I wanted to go back in now to catch the end of the show. And I almost got back in. You could see the hesitation in her eyes. And then she was like, no, I'm not going to let you back in. So I just waited next to the gate until you guys came out.
Well, Corey and I we came out to you just because at that current moment in time as well, we had just literally chased down Herman Lee from Dragon Force.
And I was like reminding you guys to get the guitar signed, our guitar plate from Guitar Hero.
Because we all remember Guitar Hero 3, I believe it was, or whatever, that had the Gibson Les Paul guitars that had the removable plates on them.
Yep.
And
we took that to get signed
by
Black Tide.
signed by Black Tide initially, which we succeeded in that. But then you got kicked out, and then Corey and I at that time did not really care about Slipknot. I
That was
remember
sad.
we were very much not Slipknot fans whatsoever, and we were
Oh, how times
just simply
have changed.
over in the food court just eating pizza, a very expensive pizza, mind you.
Yes.
And we're just proceeding to eat our food, and I happened to look over and saw Herman Lee and Sam from Dragon Force, the two guitarists, just kind of just meandering by with 4 women, mind you, arm in arm, and both of their arms. And I simply just slapped Corey as he's like eating his pizza, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Herman Lee. And he like looks over and he like fucking just drops his pizza, and it's like, holy shit, that's Herman Lee. And we're just like, what are we doing? So we proceeded to throw our pizza away, $7 a slice, mind you, and go chase down Herman Lee, which was awkward because that was also the first time that I was groped by a man.
Wasn't it Sam?
Yeah,
Sam did.
Sam the guitarist was very much intoxicated and decided to grope my right boob, and
He called you a hefty lad, didn't he?
he called me a big boy.
Oh.
Called me a big boy because I yelled at him to turn around. They turned around. We ended up talking and everything like that. Yeah, I just kind of like, I looked at Corey and I'm like, what am I supposed to say? And he's like, hell if I know. If you know Corey, he's not the person to make a scene. So, so I just simply started yelling like, hey, Herman, like, and he just turns around and like, it's dark out, so I don't know if he really knew who was yelling at him, but
I probably would have done the same thing, like, hey!
yeah, yelled at him and got him to come over, and they ended up like signing like all of our like our Guitar Hero plate and my shirt and everything, which led to the groping because I had them sign my Dragon Force shirt, and Sam.
You still have that shirt?
I still have that shirt.
Nice.
And Sam ended up signing the shirt and decided to get a little squeeze of the old right pec and called me big boy, and they went on their way to the tour bus, and then
You ran into Dave, too,
yeah,
the drummer.
We crossed Dave, who's probably nothing but 5'2", very, very small man, but drumming, I mean, that guy, give Dragon Force all the flack that they are, you know, very much repetitive, very much unoriginal, I feel like, when it comes to like their music, but you know, we talk about like Dave Lombardo from Slayer, you know, and like his repetitive, you know, drum beats and everything, but like that man's got the endurance of, I mean, you know.
We've got great videos of you pseudo drumming to Slayer.
And that's Dave McIntosh.
Yep.
And so got his signature too, but then we met you at the gate because we saw you at the gate and we were like, oh my God, look.
Yeah, you're
who
telling me about all these great times you've had.
Yeah, like,
I'm
I just met Herman Lee, Sam, and Dave McIntosh, and you're bawling your eyes out because you had just got kicked out for literally throwing a 10-ounce piece of sod. So
Yep. I guess I earned my medal wings that day. Like getting kicked out of a Slipknot show.
Let's fast forward a little bit to after the show.
Yes! It gets better, guys.
I don't know about that. We all, what did we do? Okay, so Wes and I, we take off and we go get some Wendy's. Mm-hmm. And
Our crew got split up.
yeah, and so we got Wendy's. I think we got Wendy's. I can't remember what we did.
I think we were talking about getting Wendy's.
Yeah.
And then Bobby got lost.
Well, Wes and I, we somehow
damn it, Bobby.
passed you guys as you were getting pulled over.
Yeah. What had happened
God.
with that?
And then Wes and I, we just proceeded to
Circle.
This is my perspective. Okay, we'll get to you guys in a second. So we circled around and we probably passed you guys like 8 times.
That sounds right.
Would not be
And
surprised.
Wes is probably like, I bet this cop's like, why does this car keep circling? Like, what? Am I about to get
the
mowed?
asses are next.
Are we about to get mowed down over here or some shit? But okay, so proceed. Let's hear this.
We got split up. And I was trying to keep all of the cars together because this was back when we didn't have GPS on our phone.
Yeah.
And we only knew the one person was the lead. They had the maps. They knew how to get there, and they led, and then everyone else followed. And so we got split. And so I went through the stoplight really slow. It was changing to red. And so I got through it, but you guys got left behind at the light.
Yeah, I think so.
And so I slowed down and pulled over to the side of the road, and then the cop just like pulled up right behind me. I don't even know where the cop came from, and he flipped on his lights, and I was like, what did I do? And he comes over, and it became clear to me after we went on our way what he was doing is that he was profiling and trying to catch someone who had been underage drinking at the concert that had just been let out, because he proceeds to ask if we've been drinking. And at that time, none of us had even tried alcohol at that point. So I was thinking,
Very much straight edge.
you were like pulling over the wrong car.
Like, I was 17, you were 18.
Gary was the only one that was
Gary's-
18, I think, at that time.
Yeah, because you, Gary, and Corey are all the same age, if I remember right. And it was us four in the car. I was the baby of that car.
Yep. He
And it
proceeded
was-
to breathalyze Corey.
Because you and Corey in the front.
Well, when we passed by, he was doing a field sobriety test on Corey.
Poor Corey.
Once again, if you knew Corey, he was probably shitting his pants at that time.
But yeah, so I just remember you and Wes driving around in the truck
I just remember
For-
all like the
20 minutes or so.
we were just like kidding about it like for a while, and then I remember I had like something in between my legs.
Your
or
Mountain
something.
Dew.
Yeah, I had my Mountain Dew or something like that, like in between my legs, and he like signed the flashlight.
Because I had my Saturn at that point, and it was just
and he,
really
like, was,
tiny.
like signing like the like shining the flashlight like into the back seat, like at Gary and I, and he like saw the thing in between my legs, and he's like, "What do you got there?" And you know, obviously at the time, like joking around, I was like, "Ooh, my dick," but like. But I obviously wasn't going to pull that out, and I was like, "It's
Just
my
showed
Mountain
him.
Dew."
It's Mountain Dew. There's no vodka in it
So
either.
I think we all got breathalyzed, if I remember correctly.
No, it's just Corey.
It was just yeah, because we were laughing because Corey's like, "Oh, it's just out of everybody in the fucking
Yeah.
car, I'm the one who gets stuck with it."
Blew a 0.0.
Yep, and we were on our way.
And the cop's like,
Well,
Okay.
shit, this
Yep.
backfired.
And then they told me that my license plate light was out. So we
Don't believe
proceeded
that one bit.
to go home.
I can't remember. Okay, so we finally met up in a parking lot.
Yep.
We were still in our cars talking to each other,
I was trying to find Bobby.
and I can't remember if Wes and I had already gotten food or what.
We
but-
probably might have while we
I
were
think
pulled
so.
over.
because I remember I had a Baconator that night, and then Wes said something to Corey. Corey was in the passenger seat, and Wes,
Corey always got front passenger seat.
Yep. That was
Wes says, "Yeah, you look like you like bacon." So keep in mind, this is nearly 10 years ago.
everything was
This
humorous.
is 9 years ago. Memory's a little fuzzy in some places, but he said that to Corey. Corey then threw a monster can at
Yes!
Wes's truck,
I
and
remember that.
Wes gets okay. Let's describe Wes at the time. At the time, Wes was a very large man.
Yeah.
My age. He was my age. He graduated 2009
Wrestled
with me.
and played football.
He is a Delphi championship wrestler.
Yeah.
I don't think he played football.
No, I'm pretty sure he played football.
Maybe at one point.
Maybe in middle
later
school.
but I mean, he was very much so into wrestling.
Yeah, he was mostly wrestling. Like
A very well built man.
very tall, very well built, very into black metal, death metal,
Still is.
all of that shit.
Heavy as shit.
He's the guy that introduced me to a lot of stuff, and he is the only person to this day that I've seen take down the ogre. He took down the ogre. He took down the ogre in a pit.
Oh, I wish I
Made
could
a
have seen
straight
that.
beeline for him.
The ogre was I think he used someone else as a weapon.
He
He used,
beat a
he used
motherfucker
an,
with a
he used
motherfucker.
an equally large person as a throwing device. He threw this other person into the ogre and toppled the ogre.
Justice
the ogre,
was served that day.
the
It's
ogre
like
is
Shadow of
maybe
the Colossus.
yeah. The ogre's taller than Wes, that's for sure. Maybe equal size, but
Just hear
taller.
the sound of
But yeah, and Wes goes, "Hey, that's my dad's truck." And Corey's like, oh shit.
Instantly retreats.
Yeah, and Wes, of course, was not serious whatsoever. He's the giantest teddy bear.
Teddy bear.
Despite listening to all this fucking church burning music and shit.
Yeah. That's how it usually goes.
Yeah.
Sounds similar to me, except the church burning.
So that was Mayhem.
Yes, that was our first Mayhem festival. Oh,
Miss
good
those
times.
shows.
Good times.
We have another show coming up this Sunday.
Yes, we do. In the wake of an album dropping,
Woo!
Yes.
Trivium just released The Sin and the Sentence, the follow-up to Silence in the Snow.
Another solid album.
And yes, a solid album, a very different album from Silence in the Snow was the first record to feature only clean vocals.
Yep.
Yet still remain just as fucking heavy.
Yep.
The
music,
lack of Draymond, though, was kind of disappointing.
Oh, I fucking hate Vengeance Falls. Vengeance Falls. I was so looking forward to that album.
I was kind of let down by that one, too.
Yeah, so when I found out that David Draymond would be producing the album, I was like, okay, this is pretty fucking exciting because I love Disturbed.
Oh, wow.
And I read interviews and how David Draymond helped Matt Heffy with all of his like vocal melodies and structuring the melodies and all that shit. What I didn't know was that basically David Draymond recorded all the parts himself and then said, hey, Matt, copy exactly what I did. I don't know if that's what happened, but that's what it fucking sounds like.
Use your guitar work, but put my vocals in.
Yeah, the music on Vengeance Falls was absolutely outstanding.
Agreed.
But the vocals, it was David Draymond. It was Matt Draymond.
I know that In Waves is like their title track off of that album.
No, it's not.
That's off of In Waves.
Oh, crap.
In
really?
Waves is the title track off of In Waves.
No, wait. So what's
Falls.
off of Vengeance Falls then?
Strive.
Villainy Thrives.
Villainy Thrives.
Which those aren't bad
Brave the
songs.
Storm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I feel like In Waves kind of belongs on that album then because it's literally like the same 4 lyrics.
Unpopular opinion. Get out of here.
Boo. Boo. Proceed.
I mean, I don't know. In Waves I enjoyed, but
I loved In Waves.
I enjoyed In Waves, but I feel like the first, I don't know, to me personally, like I enjoyed like the first half and then the back half just kind of.
I just love watching Heavy Heffy use all of the same antics every time they sing In Waves.
Oh yeah.
Which we will
that.
probably see on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to.
I love that In Waves album because it's the first album that came out. I tend to gravitate towards the first album that comes out while I'm a fan of them. So I mean, I had already been a fan like by listening to the Crusade and Shogun at that point.
Shogun.
That's very true because I'm like a big fan of Shogun, and that was the first album that I heard by them.
I love Shogun. Mm-hmm. I'm a person that likes to. Everybody's like, "What's your favorite album?" I was like, "Well, I can tell you. I can split it up. I can tell you what my favorite album is, but I can also tell you what their best album is, and then sometimes they're not always the same."
Right.
I will tell you, Shogun is their best album.
Preach.
With Ascendancy as a close second.
Yes, but my favorite album. Well,
my opinion.
At the time, my favorite album was In Waves. Mm-hmm. Now, however,
it is.
The Sin and the Sentence. Mm-hmm. It has taken the lead, and it might even take the lead for best album.
I'm feeling very similar. I mean, I told Amanda, like, I'm like, you need to like give this out. Like,
you know what Scott did to you with Parkway Drive? It's what he's doing with me in Trivium and in the Sentence right now.
Yeah,
like
I feel that's what I did with you in Trivium in general too.
Yeah, no, I was going to bring that up. Like he introduced Parkway Drive to you, like he introduced Trivium to me. So I've always associated them.
We'd be like driving to like, or riding with mom and dad to lunch, and or going out somewhere, and we would always have our MP3 players. We didn't have iPods back then because we were very much against Apple at that time.
All right, Daniel.
Now we have iPhones and iPads. And
now it's pretty much strictly. I mean, man, is not so much. I mean, she has an iPod, but
I have my original iPod still. Thank you.
And we would always listen to our music, and I would just remember we'd always have our headbuds in, and we would be like, dude, listen to it. We'd like pass it and just share it alone. And
that is the fiasco that I'm in right now because I still have my original iPod. It no longer syncs new music, And so the last album that I have by like any band is like 2 albums ago. And I'm really struggling with this because I don't want to buy CDs. I still
if you're
just can't
Five
bring
Finger Death
myself to
Punch,
do
then
that.
that's not such a bad thing. But
What?
They came out with a new song recently, Trouble or whatever.
I don't really pay too much attention
I-
to Five Finger Death Punch anymore.
I don't
so.
either. It just came up on my
God.
feed. I've yet to
Anything after
listen to
American
it.
Capitalist, I just pretty much just blew
Wrong
off.
Side of Heaven, part
Okay,
one.
Wrong Side
I'll give
of
it
Heaven,
part one.
one.
Part
Grew
two?
on me.
Part 2 was okay. It had some songs that I loved, and
Yeah.
the rest was eh. However,
Got Your Six.
moving forward to Got Your Six, that album was horrendous.
Would you compare it to?
American Capitalist, yes, because I hated American Capitalist after a time.
Fair, but would you compare it to Temper?
Oh, God.
Oh
from Bullet as like in
We don't
terms of
speak
like?
of that
We
album.
don't speak of that. She's right.
But I'm just saying, like, because like we had like Bullet and we were.
sirens, went from the wall. Me and Nick Maxon made fun of that album so much. Made fun of that song so much. Along
Yeah.
with Tears Don't Fall Part 2. What the fuck, Bullet? I'm so glad they came out of that and released Venom, because Venom is amazing.
They're recording a new album starting this month.
Awesome. Hopefully they stay in the right direction.
Yeah. You
Hopefully
guys
they
know
got
which
the
way you need to
positive
go.
feedback they need, and they're like, all right, this is the sound that we need to just. Keep.
we
Yeah. But I think with Five Finger Death Punch, which I'm very over that band.
Me too.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's just because I've become jaded on them in general. Like I'm the same way with Disturbed at this moment. Until they release a new CD, of course, then I'll be obsessed with them again.
Immortalized was okay.
I liked it a lot. I liked it better than Asylum. But
I'd put them on like a level like similar plane for me.
well, it just sounded so different from the rest of their work.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I know for Disturbed.
For them to
yeah.
ever sound anything different.
For
That's,
me,
That's a feat.
it was the best album since Indestructible, which Indestructible is probably my favorite.
Oh.
No, Indestructible is probably their best. Indestructible is their best,
album was
while
so good.
Believe is my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And this, I am saying all of this, completely excluding The Sickness. It's on its own level.
I feel like if you say, my favorite album is The Sickness,
It's like no
but
fucking
you can't,
shit. It's your favorite.
But it's like you can't mention their newest albums. You're a bandwagoner.
Yeah, exactly. But back to Five Finger Death Punch. I don't know if it's just because I'm jaded on them from listening to them so much in the past, or if it's because their music's gotten shittier and shittier. But
Some damn
Maybe
good
it's
live
because their
shows,
mental
though.
health is getting shittier and shittier.
yeah, I mean,
Ivan, take a break.
I'm very over the antics with Ivan. Whatever's going on, whether it be real or just whatever. I don't
PR
fucking
stunt.
know.
Several years ago, Five Finger Death Punch put hella shows on though.
Oh yeah, I've always enjoyed their live show.
Yep.
Especially in like a smaller venue setting.
Small venues.
The bleeding at the first Mayhem was brutal.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, back
White
when Way the
Knuckles.
Fist was
Yes.
just
White Knuckles when they had the Wall of Death.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
and all that fucking dust popping up.
Yeah.
My first crowd surfing experience was with Five Finger Death Punch
Oh,
at
nice.
the first Mayhem Festival.
Mine was Take This
Also,
Life
was
by
that
In
not when
Flames.
Wes just literally just grabbed you and pretty much thrusted
No, it was Corey Cook and Ransom Cornwall.
you? Okay, two other fairly big guys.
They going back to Mayhem 1. Okay, so there's 2 stories here involving both of them. So the crowd surfing thing, they just looked at each other and said, "Hey, you're gonna crowd surf." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And they just picked me up and did it. And at the time, there was a huge pit going on during Five Finger Death Punch, of course.
Surprise.
And it was just nothing but dust, and I was very,
Death.
I was very inexperienced with moshing. Like I had never done it. I was scared to fucking death of it. I weighed like 112 pounds.
Sopping wet.
It just wasn't a good idea for me. So of course the crowd is taking me directly towards this pit, and I land in the pit, and I am just like,
This is where it ends.
I'm like, this is where it is. And you know that? Have you guys seen the Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, the third one?
I fell asleep during that one.
You know at the end where the one captain from the East India Trading Company is like completely defeated, and like his ship's blowing up around him, and he's just walking down the ship, and it's a really cool piece of cinema because like everything is like blowing up in slow motion. He's just walking, it's just like this completely dead face on.
Hashtag
he
dead inside.
like he's completely dead inside. He knows he's defeated. He's just walking, and then next thing you know, the ship just blows up because like he's getting bombarded by the Black Pearl and whatever the fucking other ship is that Davy Jones was.
Yeah.
Is that what you felt like in the middle of the pit?
That's exactly what I felt like, and I did that exact walk back to the crowd because I was in the middle of the pit and I just walked straight out.
Avoid eye contact.
I just walked. I was like,
Don't make any
I
sudden
was
movements.
so fucking, the fear had deadened me inside. But moving on, so that was my first crowd surf. The next story involves so we're walking throughout like the in between stage. That's not in between stages, but it's like the
merch booth.
the
and
merch
everything?
is all that shit.
Yeah, they
Like
had a
the
bunch of stuff at
pavilion, kinda
Mayhem.
like-
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so we're walking, and there's a bunch of guys on a huge balcony. It's like a VIP like bar area, and they're like, "Show us your titties!" So of course, like chicks start doing it, and they just start flashing like crazy.
No fucks given.
And oh my god. So I couldn't see nothing because the crowd was starting to get thick because all these chicks were showing their tits.
Yeah, I've never been compelled to do that. Never.
But
I
like,
did it once.
I do it all the time.
You flashed the girl that was flashing and said mine were
because she-
bigger.
yeah, because she was on like the dude's shoulders and
Yeah.
like she was like
They were
just
literally
pulling up her
mosquito
top,
bites.
like for the band or whatever on stage, and she was like twisting around like, oh, like look at them. And so
There was nothing there.
there was
Like even
nothing
as a
there. Like,
female,
you
I
had
was
to get literally
embarrassed.
the off mosquito spray just to get those things away. Like,
Yeah.
so I lifted up my shirt and yelled, "Mine are bigger," and guys were like, "Yeah!"
So I couldn't see. I could barely see. So not Wes, Corey and Ransom do? They are my heroes. They picked me up and they literally took turns carrying me on their shoulders.
What a bro.
Because they're tall people.
They're big.
They're tall
Yeah.
people. So like they just took turns like holding me on their shoulders because I was such a small fucking dude then. And so I got to see like this went on for a good half hour, 45 minutes.
I could believe that.
Of just chicks flashing, and I was like in heaven. I was like, this
is what heaven
this
is like.
is the best concert ever, and I've never experienced. I haven't seen chicks flash.
Shoot, I was
In
going
a
to say that
long
probably
time.
set your
Just
standards
because-
pretty high for a concert.
It really did.
It's because feminism took over.
I know, fucking millennials.
Ruining everything.
Even though we're basically
We're pretty much-
diet millennials because we were born
Diet millennial.
I mean, the millennials apparently they start at like 85, 87, somewhere around there.
Yo, right here.
I'll say
Yeah.
nails man right on the head.
And so I mean, I was born in 90. You're 89.
89.
So like we're still at the very beginning, and we still know shit about shit in terms of like being a good human being
And not crying about everything.
and not crying about everything, and just
I
knowing.
don't associate myself with millennials. I feel like I do not
I
fall
don't
into that
either.
category.
I don't
Thank you.
either, despite
Thank you.
being one. But so yeah,
Damn millennials.
You know-
How old are you? 26.
you know what my next crowd surfing experience was?
Trying to go into the old memory bank here. Was it not all the way until Parkway Drive?
Yes.
Oh, Scott, you know so much.
It wasn't until last year, 2016.
Because that's like when you really started getting involved in the mosh pits and everything, I feel like.
Honestly, yeah, I didn't mosh at that show. But, I mean, it's very difficult.
Seth Rollins was at that show.
No, this wasn't that show.
That was the
That
other
was the
one.
next show.
That was the next one that I did not get to go to, unfortunately.
But no, this was at the Emerson Theater in May of 2016. I feel like I've told this story on the show before, but I'll tell it again. Basically,
jog my memory.
it was another circumstance of I was forced to crowd surf when I didn't want to. However, at the Emerson, there's no security, there's no barricade, there's
Ooh.
just a stage.
Ooh, the best.
And so Parkway Drive is notorious for just letting people come on stage and hang out, sing songs, whatever. They just love the fans.
Watch
they
the
love the crowd.
documentaries.
Yeah. Watch the DVD or Home is for the Heartless.
Yeah, you'll see.
great fucking band documentaries. Great fucking, yeah. Just watch them. I can't recommend them more. And especially Home is for the Heartless because it doesn't show the music side. It more shows like just the journey, and that's what they're about. They like touring around the world and experience. They take the time in each stop to experience where they're at.
Nice.
And I think that's really awesome because they are people of the world. They love the world and experiencing new things.
Good for them.
Australians,
But back to my show.
Aussies.
So I'm seeing all these people crowd surfing and getting on stage and hanging out, and I'm like, that would be so awesome. And I thought this to myself. I didn't say it out loud. So my friend Nate and his friend Lindsay say, "Hey, I'm gonna throw you up." Oh, let me see if I can get his voice. "Hey, bro, I'm gonna throw you up." But it was more like a yell, and I was like, "No." And I'm gonna do it. He just picks me up and throws. And next thing I know, I'm crowd surfing to the stage, and I get on stage, and I'm just like, "Hell yeah, I'm up here on stage with Parkway Drive." But I didn't know what to do, so I'm not that kind of guy that's like going to take advantage of a moment like that.
Man.
So I tried to, I was like, okay, I've been on stage for a couple seconds. I'm going to jump back out in the crowd. The crowd was not having it, however, and they threw me back on stage. Oh. So I was like, oh. So
Did you stage dive? Dude,
I did.
Totally would. Oh, yes.
I did. I stage dived and failed. Because the crowd caught me and threw me back on stage like, fuck you. I was like
a rubber band.
I was like, guys, it's not supposed to happen. But so I just got back up, and instead of relishing in the moment, I just walked off stage to the side, defeated. But however, I was not ready to go back out of the crowd because Parkway Drive crowds are just absolutely nuts. Everybody's moving, everybody's moshing, jumping, running around.
Best experiences
Sweet.
you could have.
And so I stayed on the side of the stage, and I was taking pictures, I was taking video, and it was great. It was great.
Great.
Yeah, and then that next Parkway Drive show, like I mentioned, that we did not realize, but the one in Chicago,
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins was there.
Dang.
WWE superstar.
It's like
Seth
me seeing
Rollins.
Bam Margera at the Avenged Sevenfold. He was up in the VIP suite.
Nice.
And the crowd started chanting, "Bam, bam, bam, bam!" And so he took off his shoe, licked the bottom of it, and he like vomited almost, and then threw the shoe out in the crowd. So that was Bam's antics.
There was wouldn't be surprised to see Bam just jump from the balcony.
That's what we were expecting, I think. Not like Bring Me the Horizon's lead singer when I saw them at Warped Tour. The same Warped Tour I saw Katy Perry at. Bring Me the Horizon was on the next stage over, and the little dude climbed up to the top of the amps, like just so high up, and just jumped off the amps onto the crowd.
Katy Perry was at Warped Tour?
I saw Katy Perry before she was cool.
Before she was Katy Perry?
Uh-huh.
Back when she would like... What? Did you know she's on a POD song?
What?
Yeah.
I wonder if she's saying that one.
Huh?
I wonder if she's saying that one.
Youth of a Nation?
No. No, it's
She one of the children chanting, "We are."
Baby.
No, it's the song, and it's crazy. So I had always loved this song, and when I found out, okay, so I saw this article, Katy Perry in POD song, like
What?
Like, oh, this is
and
a
then there
mash.
was a video of them doing it live, and then as soon as I saw the title of the song, I was like, no fucking way, that song, it's Goodbye for Now, if you know that song. Excellent song. And then I listened to the song, or I watched the live video, and I hear it, and I go listen to the studio version. I'm like, holy shit, that is Katy Perry.
Wow. I will have to check that out.
But it was back when she was Katy, whatever the fuck her real last name is. No, she used to be like a Christian singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so...
Times have changed in that one.
That's why she wrote I Kissed a Girl. It was basically kind of rebelling against her upbringing.
No,
she very much loves her parents.
She had a whole documentary on Netflix, and I watched that years ago, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I recently watched the Lady Gaga documentary, and that's also really good.
That's like Pheasant Run days. Didn't we like always?
Yeah,
just
that
use
was 1905 when I watched the Katy
But
Perry
did we
thing.
not like literally just use Netflix almost for a lot of the time to just watch documentaries?
Yeah.
We were just like, let's look around. We just like watch every
what have we got to
documentary we
watch?
could find.
The most recent documentary. There's two documentaries involving music that I really want to check out. Actually, now there's three. There's one for the Foo Fighters. That's the most recent one I found. I have yet to watch that. There's the Tom Petty one, which is 4 hours long.
Holy.
Yeah,
Green
and then
Mile, baby.
there's a Lemmy documentary.
Ooh, that one would be good.
I want to see them
Scott,
all.
you gotta do Lemmy's voice now.
Damn Fucking last documentary I watched, I think, was Parkway Drives.
Oh my god, which one? Home is for the Heartless or the DVD?
Home for the Heartless.
Okay.
I think mine
Although I
was
did watch some
Avenged.
WWE documentaries for some. I was like watching like Mick Foley's and
Well, because you got
Foley's
Matt's
was-
subscription to the WWE network.
no, Matt canceled his subscription.
Oh,
My last documentary, I really think, was the Avenged one, where they're like chasing the ducks around and everything. He's not afraid at all. He's not afraid at all.
Fucking duck.
oh my god.
The Rev.
The quote that that always gets brought up at some point while we're all hanging out is the Corey Taylor from, I can't remember which one. It was either from Disaster Pieces or Inside the Nine.
I think it might have been Disaster.
He's looking at like a mold of his face or his head that has like his mask on it and all that, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, look at the size of that fucking neck! Because Corey Taylor has like an immensely large neck.
Gives the old corpse grinder.
Jesus fucking Christ! Yeah, corpse grinder, pencil neck Fisher. Jesus fucking
Gives
Christ.
him a run for his money on his neck.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was a huge tangent. We were talking about Trivium, then Five Finger Death Punch, and that all got crazy.
Well, that's just how many stories that we have.
Oh, yeah,
going
definitely.
to concerts
That's
together.
not even.
That's the tip of the iceberg. Going back before we get to Trivium, going back to what I was saying about Five Finger Death Punch. Yeah, I'm pretty jaded on them, but like I've read a lot of shit about how like their struggle with their now former label, and it kind of, things start kind of making sense as I feel like maybe they were just producing music just to produce it and putting no real thought into it, just to
get off of that
just to
label.
fulfill their required album quota. And because Got Your Six, which their label was trying to sue them for that. They were trying to sue them because they thought they weren't producing quality,
Merca.
like up to snuff albums just to get off the label. And so Five Finger Death Punch won their lawsuit.
Yay.
And to get off the label, they are now putting out a greatest hits album.
Greatest hits album.
So cool. we get a rehash of Five Finger Death Punch songs. Hopefully good ones and nothing off Got Your Six. But there will be. I know there will be. There was like a couple songs that weren't too bad on that album.
Well, hopefully they pick those then.
I liked, what was it, Jekyll and Hyde?
I don't
was like
even think I listened to that
I
album.
That was the
hated that
first song. Like it grew on me eventually, and I was like, okay, this is
Bad.
neat. This is neat.
Neat.
Bad.
It's not my favorite, obviously, but no, it grew on me eventually. But overall, the album just did not.
I
do
remember
anything for me.
Dad always giving us so much grief about listening to Five Finger Death Punch because he's like, "Are you
Dad
listening to
gave
the
us grief
lyrics?"
for everything because
Yeah,
he
true.
also banned System
Of a
Down's
Down.
Mesmerized from being played in our house because he heard violent pornography played.
I remember that.
But it's a
And the
violent
whole-
pornography, choking chicks and sodomy.
Yep.
Which is where I got my nickname from for a while.
Scottomized.
Scotomy.
This podcast is getting Scottomized. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, no, you hear the lyrics, and I was just playing them on the old computer up there, and he kind of just stormed up and was just like, "What the hell are you listening to?"
He did the same thing to me for Five Finger. I think it was the bleeding. I think is that when Ivan talks about father and mother.
No, that's Remember
gosh.
Everything.
Yeah, no, but that album definitely wasn't out. It was definitely War is the Answer. It might have been White Knuckles. I'm taking back control.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably anything that involved swearing. If you heard a swear word in any kind of song, he was instantly about to ban that album
Triggered.
from being played in the house. Therefore, that's why we grow up on REO Speedwagon and Poison and
NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
Instinct and Backstreet Boys.
Because that wasn't dirty at all.
Nope. Money, money, money.
Yep.
Man. All right, so let's talk about this Trivium album, Sentence Sentence.
Yes.
do
Can
it.
we please? God damn.
I think I was definitely hooked obviously when the sentence dropped, and when it came out, I was just like, oh my God.
So,
because I had heard about it, because people were because people like in the comments they were all like, I just kept on hearing orgasm, like just that like kind of like comment on it like consistently, and I was like, wow, like this must be really really good. So I gave it my own listen, and I was like, hot damn, like it's pretty much combining everything that Trivium I feel like does really well, and now that Heavy Heffy is able to sing so adequately, I feel like that his singing voice has improved.
I've never
so
thought he
much.
was a bad singer.
I never thought he was either.
And, I always enjoyed his voice. I always enjoyed
And like
his
he
singing.
said in like the one interview or whatever, he's like, I screamed. He's like, I screamed because I couldn't sing.
It's like, fuck you, dude. You can sing.
Yeah, right?
It's not about singing. I mean,
And
okay.
so now he can actually sing. So he's like, oh, I'm going to sing.
I hate that everybody has this view of singing perfectly because, like, that's
The voice.
where your own voice, your own voice, I think, is way better than singing up to snuff. I guess because that's where you
Everybody
get
has a
uniqueness,
different expression.
and when you're trying to sing like perfect technique and all that, I feel like you lose a lot of what makes your voice your voice. A lot
I
of
feel
that
like
rock
music
voice.
is all about who you are.
And
That's
Heffy
like,
definitely has a recognizable voice.
Oh yeah, definitely. And not to say like all his improvement in singing has really done. It's not bad. I love it. I love hearing him sing. It's just there's a lot,
When he actually
you can
sings.
hear.
Heavy Heffy, if you hear me and you're listening to this podcast, you will be singing at this show on Sunday.
There is
And if
no
you
reason
come
to be
out
sick.
and tell us that you're sick and we have to sing the whole entire concert for you again, I'm telling you now and I'm warning you now. I'm going to yell at you, I'm going to flip you off, and I might not go back to another Trivium show. So do not
Lies.
disappoint me.
You cannot do that.
That's all lies.
Story time. So last February we saw Trivium
Fort Wayne.
Fort
in
Wayne.
Fort
The Rusty
Wayne
Spur.
at the
Rusty Spur.
Rusty Spur.
Lots of echoes going on right now. So who opened up? Do you remember who opened up for that show?
It's some local band, if I remember correctly.
yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure the whole lineup was almost local bands except for
Okay.
Yeah.
except for Trivium.
Didn't we get there like later-ish because of that?
Yeah.
I think we tried to. I was like 2
So
or 3 shows.
about
yeah.
15, 20 minutes before Trivium comes out, here comes Matt Heffy.
Woo!
And everybody's cheering him. He's like, "Hey guys, I went to the doctor last night for an emergency, and I've been told that I cannot sing tonight. So that being said,
Instant buzzkill.
oh yeah, we're
Totally.
He's like, that being said, I don't want to let anyone down. The show must go on. We will be playing. I just can't sing." So we then continued to get a Trivium show with only screams from Corey and
Yep.
a little bit of singing from Paulo,
Whiny.
while the crowd sang the majority of the songs.
Yeah,
which was
pretty much all
cool
of it.
itself.
Which
It
was, yeah.
It was really cool. Everybody was in time. Everybody was in sync with the band. It was really a cool experience to see
I don't want to repeat it though.
fans coming together.
Yeah.
And singing the songs that they love.
But I don't pay to
No,
listen
you're
to
right.
the crowd.
You're completely right. So hopefully this Sunday we
That
don't have a
VIP
repeat experience.
Oh,
yeah, and
yeah.
I got VIP after the show and went and got
Oh, and
to
I
meet
had a
them.
client call me in crisis.
Oh yeah.
Right before that show, like I called the cops on my daughter. What do I do? Oh, well, the cops are coming.
No, the Trivium show can't help right
We'll
now.
deal with it on Monday. Yep. So, but yeah, you had that VIP experience.
And we had
we
Blaine.
had you ask all the questions that we've always wanted to ask Heavy Heffy,
Yes.
which included.
Becoming the Dragon. Is this song about Magikarp evolving into Gyarados? And he proceeded to tell me, well, I get that a lot.
Which is why I took my poster to Louder Than Life later that year.
Yeah.
I put a poster together with Magikarp evolving into Gyarados and put it up for them to see in between each song that they sang. And I'm taking it with me on Sunday too.
Yeah, he proceeded to tell me, he's like, yeah, I get that a lot. The song's about the koi fish transforming into the dragon once it reaches the top of the waterfall and reaching its full potential. It's an ancient Japanese story
So Magikarp and Gyarados.
Yeah, it's Magikarp and Gyarados. Like I was like, that's exactly what I said. So I was like, so it's Magikarp evolving into Gyarados. That's basically exactly what that is. And he's like, yeah, basically.
I'm fine with that answer, Heffy.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
He was like really calm. He didn't seem like he really wanted to talk, but it's whatever.
I feel like he probably does yoga.
Oh, probably. He's
Or is BJJ?
fucking Corey, however the hell you say his last name.
Bellaloo or whatever.
Yeah, however the fuck you say his last name. He was
We
really...
don't go by last names.
Him and the drummer were both really talkative. It's now former drummer.
Yep.
I'll say what drummer was that?
I fucking don't know.
I
it the-
don't know how many they've had now.
He was suggested to them by Dream Theater.
That's right.
Well, if it's not Alex Portnoy, then
No. Yeah, he. I don't even think he was on the album. He wasn't even on Silence in the Snow.
was it not the drummer who did the drums for In Waves?
No, it was not Nick.
So it was
Augusto.
in between.
It
It
was-
was in between Nick and Alex.
Yeah.
I don't remember
That
him
poor
either.
soul. Nobody remembers him.
No.
Yeah, I think
That's
he was
what
just a
happens
tour
when you
at the
fucking
time.
shift drummers every goddamn
Yeah,
album.
I think he was just a touring drummer at that time.
I'm pretty sure I have that dude's autograph.
Probably.
Because I bought the album at Louder Than Life to get the access to get the autographs, to call them out on their BS for not playing Becoming the Dragon. And Heffy didn't even really acknowledge me on my poster. He just signed my CD and sent me on my way.
Bitch.
But Corey appreciated it.
Corey's always very talkative. It seems like.
Yeah.
He's very appreciative of fans. I mean, not saying Matt isn't.
Nope, me neither.
Because
But
Matt's very heavy on the social media presence, and he's always retweeting.
Yes, he is.
Reposting.
Now he's all about
fans'
He
he
things.
unfollowed me, though.
Aw.
I would just like to point out how he unfollowed everybody because he kind of restarted his Twitter account.
Oh, yeah.
With all of the bots that were following him. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to get him to follow me again.
So yeah, I don't use Twitter, but I actually had him reply to one of my comments on Facebook the
Oh,
other day.
nice.
Yes, you sent me that. You sent me
I
that
sent
on
a
Snapchat.
Screenshot.
But yeah, he was talking about some article claimed that he was like loaded, and he's like, "This is what happens when people don't do their research and post fake news, alternative
Trump.
facts."
Is that when you commented and said that his royalty was like 81 cents or something?
Yeah, because back when In Waves came out, shortly after he posted a picture of the first royalty check, and it was like 98 cents, and I was like, "That's crazy. That's fucking crazy."
Yeah.
But he went on to someone else replied and said, "I'm pretty sure that was just from Spotify," which makes sense, and which he replied to that person within my comment saying it wasn't Spotify. It was just a small check from a small scale of time after the album dropped. So he's like, so it just didn't. It was small, but it didn't reflect like
The actual.
yeah.
Huh. Well, that's cool.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to split like money from album sales through, because basically the way I think I had it explained to me was basically a label loans you money and you pay them back, and so the album sales mostly go back to the label.
Right.
No
So-
wonder they always say buy merch at the shows.
Yes, because that is all them.
Huh.
Merch.
Well, see, I don't feel so bad now. I download all of the music, but I buy a shirt at every show I go to.
But if you buy an album from their merch, that goes to them.
Oh, even better, because I did that at
I
Louder
love to
Than
buy
Life.
at merchandise.
You're
but they
welcome,
don't
Trivium.
sponsor 3XL anymore. And I also don't want to pay $100 for a hoodie. It's a little,
Yeah.
it's a little above there.
Grasping at straws.
I don't mind supporting obviously the bands and everything. Like, I mean, yeah, we have plenty of band shirts and hoodies
Oh, yeah, I
and,
turned
and
all of mine into a
accessories and
quilt.
everything. Like we do our part, but you know, like $100 hoodies is
Financial
a little,
crises.
It's a little pricey at times. So
But yeah, we haven't talked about the album. we
we have so many memories.
tangent
of Trivium.
catastrophe.
Yes.
So basically, all right. So sit in the sentence. So, like I said, when I heard the title track, I was instantly hooked. I'm pretty sure I texted you or like sent you a link to it, probably Amanda too, and I'm like, you need to check this out,
Yeah.
like right now. And then, Hard on Your Hate came out second, and initially I was not crazy about the song.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
was
didn't
not
listen
crazy
to it.
about it.
I didn't listen to it at the time. Okay, so I listened to the title track, the first single that dropped, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I can definitely hear what they were talking about in terms of what they were wanting to do with that. Because I read some interviews on what they were wanting to do with this album, what it sounds like, and all that. And then I heard that, and I was like, okay, I can hear that. I can hear where they're coming from there. And then they released another single, and I didn't listen to those. I wanted to go in blind. I wanted to go in fresh.
Yeah, because I remember I told you about the last single that dropped, Through the Fire.
Yeah, which
And
if there is a least favorite song on the album, that's probably it.
and the worst part about it is like still a decent song.
Yeah, exactly. I like by least favorite. I mean, it's just whatever to me. It's not that it's a bad song. It's not that I don't like the song. It's just, I like
It's
others
an
way
album
more.
that's loaded with very, very good songs.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it just happens to be on the bottom end.
I would have to say my favorite song is "Endless Night." Is that what it's called? Yeah, it's
Endless Night. I really like the Revanchist, or whatever, how you pronounce that. Not that literate, but I really, really enjoy that song. Beyond Oblivion.
Oh yeah, Beyond Oblivion, Otherworld.
It took me a little while too, but like that riff though, like when right before I believe it's the solos. It's like in the break in between the singing.
You know what's crazy is for right now, like I haven't really put too much focus onto the music. I'm almost solely focused on Heffy's vocals and lyrics.
The vocals and lyrics,
which is typically what I tend to do. But like I've really enjoyed all of that, and maybe eventually I'll start paying attention to what's going on in the background. I mean, obviously I hear it, but
yeah, and you being a vocalist, that's obviously very much understated. Where
I typically focus on the vocals, lyrics, and guitar. But right now, like I'm just hearing all that, and that's what's kicking my ass.
That's
right
funny
now.
that you say that, because whenever we go to shows, I always see Scott watching the drummer.
Yeah,
and
of
he
course.
used to drum, so
and
he just
I'm very
watches the
much-
drummers.
Very much involved in the music, the instrumental side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Always listen to that stuff.
I don't know where I would fall. I mean, I was in band, but I wasn't like a band,
Yeah.
high school
Yeah.
band here. So I go for all aspects, I suppose.
And when we say drummer, by no means do I have any professional experience, but I am a very, very solid rock band drummer.
Oh yes, oh yes,
I can throw it down if needed.
Yeah, even with the pro kit.
oh yeah.
Give me that double bass.
Yeah, I would say my favorite songs are probably the title track, "Endless Night," "Otherworld," Betrayer. Oh my god, "Sever the Hand."
Sever the Hand is pretty fucking heavy.
Yeah.
The Heart from Your Hate, right? Or
Yeah,
Hate from
that's
Your
a good
Heart.
Heart from Your Hate.
I love this entire goddamn album.
Woo!
Heart on Your Hate really grew on me a lot. That one, but I think probably my favorite song would probably have to still be "Sin the Sentence."
Yeah, it's
That's the one I've listened to the most so far.
the chorus is just so goddamn catchy, and it takes you back to Ascendancy.
Yes.
I feel like they've mixed every album.
Oh yeah,
all
there's
into this.
there's
one.
a little bit of everything.
I hear Crusade. I hear a little Shogun. I hear some in Waves. I kind of obviously the Silent Snow with the vocals.
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like they literally mixed everything all into one, and I think that's
Yeah.
why I love it.
oh man, yeah. This
Good job,
album's
Trivium.
5 out of 5. 5 out of
You
7.
nailed
perfect
it.
album.
7.
5 out of 7. Perfect album.
Do approve.
Honestly, I cannot say a bad thing about this album.
Except that it didn't come out sooner.
Yeah, except that.
But you can't
we had
rush
that-
perfection.
Except that we had Vengeance Falls before this.
Yeah. I kind of like we've talked about Vengeance Falls. I enjoy Vengeance Falls. Is it not the best album? No, of course not.
I enjoy select songs.
But
on
yeah,
that.
Strife. I mean, Strife I think is a very good song. Villainy Thrives. Is a pretty decent song. Mm-hmm. But is it an album that I think I can listen to from front to back?
No.
No. Sin the
No.
Sins? Yes.
yeah. Honestly, that's how I always judge an album: is do I skip songs?
Yeah.
Speaking of that front to back, I made a status about Blaine to you about this Double Driver Last Kind Words. Like,
Oh yeah, we were listening to that on the way to Columbus
we
the
went
other
to
day
Columbus this past Tuesday.
because we
for,
passed the Jeep that had
we
the
had a Jeep that just magically appeared in front of us that on the tire cover it said,
"Not all who
"Not
wander
all
are
who
lost."
wander who are lost."
I remember I got that snap.
And I looked at Amanda and I was like, we
Do
need
it.
to fucking play Devil Driver right now.
And then it was just like flashbacks of
And then we
awesomeness the
listened
whole
to
time.
from the album front to back, and both were just like,
I mean,
Damn.
I hadn't listened to that album in ages,
Yeah.
and every song that came on, I was like, "Oh my god, this song is awesome!"
I still
like,
remember the lyrics. I still remember the beats. I
You
still
know,
remember
now
seeing
I'm
them in
thinking about
Illinois.
it.
Like,
Now that I'm thinking about it, my journey into metal vocals started at your house. I mean, I had always wanted to do like harsher vocals, but I discovered that I could really actually scream while playing Rock Band with you guys.
Rock Band.
It
Yeah.
was because
our house was like the Rock Band hub
Oh, yeah.
of Delphi.
but I remember 3 songs
Oh,
where I learned that I could do this. The first one, "Are You Dead Yet" by Children of Bodom.
Solid.
Second one, speaking of The Last Kind Words by Devil Driver, "Clouds Over California."
Great song.
And then, of course, Five Finger Death Punch, "Burn It Down."
Yep.
Burn it down.
Where the first time I took it seriously, and then the next couple times I realized for the screaming parts of the songs, they don't really count. They don't get scored or anything. They're just there. They're basically taking a spoken word. There's no
And saying,
pitch level
do whatever
or
you want to do.
Yeah, just do it however you want. So like
Freestyle.
Of course, like I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna I burn it down. I can't remember the rest of the lyrics, but
That's it.
That's
Like-
basically-
That's
I
pretty much
burn it
it.
down.
But then there's the
So
Haunted.
everybody knows I burn it down. It's not
and then we
taken
started singing like that at Five Finger
Oh
shows.
yeah, of course. But yeah,
Rock
that's
Band introduced us to the Haunted
oh yeah, the
and
haunted. with-
DOA.
I remember the first time I sang that. The first time I ever heard that song, you just picked it, and I was like, oh fuck,
I was like,
don't know
oh,
this.
Blake will enjoy this song.
I was like, I
Yeah,
don't know this
yeah.
fucking song, so I was just trying to sing it.
We
as it was
did
coming.
enjoy it.
Oh yeah, now I fucking love that song. I love that band, which has former members of At the Gate, not former members, but members of At the Gates.
which was another song.
yeah.
Yeah, track that we enjoyed very
Slaughter of
much.
the Soul. Oh yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Yep.
Slaughter of the Soul. Good times. But yeah, that was where I discovered that I could scream, and so from there I practiced it a little bit more and a little bit more, and
That's
eventually
also. I think that's where like our like infatuation with like guitars really kind of grew up too.
yeah, I would say. I mean, I had already had I think we both had guitars at
Because
that
you
point.
had
I got my Razorback.
because you got the Razorback, and then I had some shitty ass Dean Vendetta.
Yeah,
that
and
I
then,
bought off of Amazon for $100.
then I got my old Washburn.
You got the Washburn, but then I got the Jackson.
Yeah, your Jackson Warrior.
I wanted the model of Sinister's
Amanda
guitar
always
at that
wanted
time.
the Sinister Gates.
Probably a good thing I never
Schecter.
ended up with that.
He's kind of gone downhill.
Yeah.
I just got the little model instead that I took a scale picture of to make it look
Yeah,
like
and
it was the
everybody
real
like,
thing.
Holy shit! You guys guitar, and then it's like it zooms out.
It's like the size of my hand.
It's like a fucking amiibo.
Speaking of amiibo, we went hunting on Saturday,
Oh,
and
yeah?
that was fun.
Oh yeah. Let's hear
Yeah,
this.
with the launch of Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey. I
have a
swore that I was done with the amiibo game. If you are not aware of the amiibo game and the hunting game, it's a nightmare trying to find these stupid little things from Nintendo, because Nintendo purposely makes the stock small so that scalpers can snatch them up and then drive the cost up. And so I finally collected all of the Smash line, and I was done because I just can't invest any more time and money into those things. And then Super Mario Odyssey came out, and they had 3 more amiibo. And then there's a 3-pack that came out. It came out with Bowser, Peach, and Mario in it, which are the 3 that you need for Odyssey. And so Scott and I went over to Columbus. Kokomo
The old Kokomo.
on Saturday to see our good old friend Dan.
Old Danny
and
boy.
we decided to go amiibo hunting because we all had Odyssey out and we're all playing it. It's a great game.
So
it's
I'm,
like
on the floor,
perfection.
just like browsing Meijer and
Yeah.
Target and Best Buy's website, like trying to find them. And I just happened to see on GameStop, it's like, or Target, or I don't know. Actually, I think it was just GameStop on it. It
Yeah.
was Markland Mall.
Yep,
and
yeah.
Kokomo. I was like, hey, Markland Mall and Kokomo has Pretty sure it was Bowser and Mario, because
yeah.
Peach was just like gone at this point.
Yep. And so
we're just like,
let's go.
let's go drive around Kokomo for 4 hours.
Yeah, looking for these
looking
amiibo.
for amiibo.
Yep.
So
I ended up getting a Meyer with the clutch.
Meyer was clutch. Target provided us the initial.
Yeah.
I saw you guys one of you posted about it on Facebook.
I did, yeah.
And I saw in the location it said Kokomo. I was like, what the fuck are they doing?
Apparently Kokomo's like a gold mine for finding
Kokomo
hard to
is
find
like-
Nintendo products.
Because like SNES Classics, Super Nintendo Classics, really hard to
Just
find.
go to Kokomo.
Presumably Kokomo just has a shit ton of them. Granted,
They had a whole stack of Switches in Best Buy.
yeah, they've got like 45 Switches, and everybody
Great.
around here cannot find one for the life of them.
Braden Stone, if you are listening, go to Kokomo for your finds.
Do it.
And now we return to your
I don't know.
podcastrophe.
I mean, that was about it. We
This episode has been brought to
we ended
you.
up at Meyer, and we go back to the electronics section, and there's one Peach amiibo left on the shelf, and we were like,
And it was very
yes.
scarce. Very scarce amiibo selection.
The amiibo stock is kind of petering out in retail stores because the hype has definitely died off of them. But they're still like, when you want one, you can't just walk into a store and get it. Like, it's
I want the
ridiculous.
amiibo. Nope, we don't got it.
We had to
So-
drive to 4 different stores.
So yeah, we started at Target, which was connected to the mall. So then we just walked directly into the mall. And
Nothing at GameStop.
Nothing at the GameStop there. Then drove to Meyer, which came up clutch for us. But I mean, otherwise it was. Initially, we were a little worried. Thought we were going
The
to
elusive Peach.
the old
Yep.
Peach. She was quite the find, but. I mean, Target. I said provided the first two right off the get go. Provided some
and then-
good buys in terms of Halloween clearance. That was solid.
Hell yeah.
Got more decorations for that.
Sure did for like
Wound
$3.
up with another fantastic game for us to play on our party nights. What do you meme?
Oh, what do you meme?
Man. I can't wait to play that with you guys.
What do you meme?
It was a lot of fun.
Very much so. If you do not know what do you meme is basically Cards Against Humanity. Very similar concept, where a judge simply just plays a meme. There's a stack of very large picture cards that are all memes.
Yep.
For some of them are very much recognizable. Like some of them, like you might not have seen before. But
I don't know. Blaine probably have seen all of them.
What's up? Sorry.
All of the memes.
I could see you being very much involved in the meme world.
I'm very
Meme lord over here.
Yeah, one could say I am a meme lord.
It's true. You would probably. I might have to pull them out. And
I have
show
2
you.
memes tattooed on me.
This is
For
true.
fuck's sake.
Dat boy.
I
which
got
is
Dat
in
boy.
there very frequently. We pulled a Dat boy out probably a couple times. But basically, the whole concept of the game is you pull a judge draws a meme card, and then all the other players have 7 quotes or play cards in their hand that are all just
Like that moment when you
that moment when this happens, or such and such whatever, and you basically try to match what the meme is with the funniest card that you have in your hand that you think goes along with it to make the best meme. To make the best meme possible, you hand them to the judge, and then the judge basically reads them out loud to the group. Everybody laughs, everybody cries. If they, might be offended, or they might be, a little bit too real at times.
Mine was pretty real.
Oh shit! Go
It's
ahead.
pretty real.
Let's hear yours, please.
I'm going to try to describe the meme as best I can. It's the birthday dog, where the curly-haired dog with the party hat is sitting in front of his birthday cake, and he's just got this smug little grin
He
on
is
his
dead
face.
inside.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he's smiling but dead inside at the same time. And so I played my card that said, when you're at your ex's funeral and realize you took the breakup too far.
And we fucking died.
And I was like, oh, that's the face
my
I would
God.
make. No.
We
great.
just lost it.
I have a lot of fond memories. Not that I can recount any of them, but of playing Cards Against Humanity here with you and Austin and Nate and the rest of the crew.
Oh God, yeah.
Nate Manis and Austin Welch, hopefully to be future guests on the Podcastrophe.
Austin's going to be coming back
Yeah.
home.
So Austin, looking forward to having him on in a few weeks.
Nate, not so much.
Yeah.
He's abandoned us for.
They're both in different cities now?
Austin is currently living in New York.
Queens, right?
I think in that general vicinity.
Yeah.
And Nate is living in
California?
around San Francisco.
Okay.
Nate does
Yeah.
not expect to come back until next summer.
Austin.
That's why he told me, bitch.
Yeah. Austin. Yeah, I can't wait to have him on. He's what I refer to as my son, and he's a blast to talk to. He's got a very interesting life, especially right now, and I can't wait to have him
Working
on.
for BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
Oh, out in Queens, I can only imagine. I miss the
yeah.
city so much. I'll come visit Austin. I don't know you very well, but I'll come visit. I need to get my NYCFC
He's
fixed.
moving to California, I think, in January.
He's moving to LA.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
He's
Yeah.
going for the big time.
Killing it.
Props to you, buddy.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
shit.
Kill it,
Got out
man.
of Delphi. That's awesome.
Well, he's from Rossville.
Oh, got out of Rossville. Even greater accomplishment.
Yeah, give us some love. Bring some
Yeah.
popularity to your fellow Midwestern brethren.
But so yeah, we always played Cards Against Humanity here, and playing with Nate Manis is the best because even when he sees a card, whether it's his card or not, he sells it, and he'll basically just like explain the card.
It becomes charades.
and it's absolute hilarity, and you never know what the fuck he's gonna say, and it's just hilarious.
Shout out to the Dudetus.
God.
One of my fondest memories. But yeah, we would definitely check out What Do You Mean if you enjoy Cards Against Humanity or Exploding Kittens.
Yeah.
All those adult kind of dark humor games.
It's definitely a lot of dark humor.
Definitely a lot of dark
Yeah.
humor. Very vulgar. Do not play around your parents.
Nope.
Highly do not recommend doing so. They might require you to come to church and probably praise Mary several times.
Well, guys, I think I gotta be heading home.
Lame.
It's time.
That's like,
Is it your bedtime?
No, well, after a 5-day weekend, it's coming to a close.
My bedtime's really
But,
soon.
my girl-
I'm 30 now, so 9
Yeah.
p.m. Amanda's out.
9:30 hits. Time to hit the sack.
Yep.
Let's go.
I'll probably be asleep by 11. But no, my girlfriend is currently at my house making us dinner.
What a
can't-
beautiful girl.
She is the best. She's the absolute best. And I got here late. We were supposed to start at 5. We didn't start until like 6.
Thanks,
And
Andy.
yeah, thanks to my roommate who cleaned the house this weekend. Never does usually, but he decided to clean this weekend and hide my Zoom.
You did your best, my boy.
Hide my Zoom in the closet.
Good job.
So on the floor, covered up by a bunch of shit. So yeah, thanks Andy for making
Participation
me late to this.
award. Gets a star.
Yeah, I freaked the fuck out. I was like, "Where the fuck is my Zoom?
Yeah, you walked
where's my
in
Zoom?"
pretty angrily.
Oh yeah, I was like, "Where the fuck is
Yeah.
my Zoom?"
My
'Cause
wood steps felt the wrath.
The wrath and fury.
I couldn't find it, and I was freaking the fuck out. I was like, "Where the fuck is this? I just got this. There's no way I could have fucking lost it. Like I just got this. That's money down the drain. Fuck." And so I was scouring my house. Meanwhile, I was like, "Can you guys come here?" But
False.
you're like, "We just ordered delivery."
We just had food coming our way.
I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna figure it out." So like, I
the
actually
Lord knows.
ripped
Once
out. I found one of my old interfaces that's fairly mobile. My other interface, which I was using for mobile, is currently at the Doom Room, so I could let Nick use it for his podcast, Brews with Dudes. Check it out.
Nice.
But
Nice.
which he's not even using it. He said he ordered his own Zoom H6 handy recorder. Lucky him. It's very awesome. It's very easy to use. It's what Brandon uses for Journey into Comics and all the other podcasts he's on. But yeah, so like I ripped out that other interface and I was just going to bring it here, install all the drivers and shit that I needed to on my laptop, and then we were going to go from there. But then I was like, I'm going to check that closet one more time. And sure enough, it was there. Ta-da! So, like, I checked my car, I checked all over the house, everywhere that I possibly could, and I couldn't find it, and it was just in the closet.
Well, I'm glad you found it.
Yeah. So, I'd like to thank you guys so much for joining me.
No problem.
thanks for letting us on. I know, like
Yeah.
you said, it's been a time coming.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be easier from this point on.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully this is, like, it's always, part of me wondered if, like, you would just be like, I can't do it today because you're like afraid to be on it or something. But Because sometimes people are like that, but once they get a taste of it, they're like, okay, that wasn't that bad, and that was actually a lot of fun.
No,
It's just conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No,
and you guys did so well today. I thank you for being phenomenal guest.
You're welcome.
you know me. I'm open. I'm just
Hell yeah.
I'm just a fun guy to be around.
Once again, thank you
We'll all be
guys.
together on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Going to Trivium. Let's
Can't
do
wait.
it, boys.
Put them
Can't
horns
wait.
up.
Thank you guys once again for being on. That being said, you can check out, if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to Journey into Comics on Stitcher Radio, Podbean, Google Play, iTunes. You can check us out on Facebook at the Journey into Comics or facebook.com/journeyintocomics, journeyintocomics.com. If you want, we have a Patreon where you can throw $1 to get early access, or throw us $3 and you get early access and bonus content. And
who doesn't love bonus content?
Yeah, right. It's just $3 for that. If not, just one, and then you get access to every episode as soon as they're ready. So it's very worth it if you're very into us. You can support us, help us grow. It's great. If not, oh well, you still get all of this for free on all the other stuff, just in a different time frame. But so yeah, if you subscribe to Journey into Comics, you get the Journey into Comics podcast. You get Journey into Wrestling, Foodies Watching Movies, The Poor Report, Brews with Dudes, our new podcast. You get the Butt Stuff podcast. You get my podcast, Podcastrophe. So, and if I'm missing anything, I'm sorry. But you can find me. Yeah, I'm only human. You can find me on Facebook.com/Podcastrophe. You can find me on Instagram at Podcastrophe Podcast. Same thing with Twitter, Podcastrophe Podcast. I don't use it as much, but if you tweet at me, I'll know, and I'll get back to you. You can tweet at me things that you want to see talked about on the podcast. I can answer questions on the podcast. There's no limit to what I'll do. And no question is off limits. Feel free to ask. But if that's all, I am Dick.
I'm Scottomized.
And this is Amanda.
And I would like all of you to make every day a big dick day.